Hey there! So what I've done is I just committed a update to this repo. So I have a repo at tammybuto/Jenkins-Gremlin. I'm just going to refresh this so you can check that out. So just made an update 15 seconds ago. And what I want to show you here is this whole demo environment. So basically we have a CloudFormation template here that builds up our Jenkins server. It also is used to deploy our application. It is used to build our project using code build, code deploy. We then have our load balancer from AWS where we have an instance sitting behind that running on EC2 that also is attached to an autoscaling group. The autoscaling group is set up to actually add more instances as CPU increases, and we'll use Gremlin to actually inject that CPU. So that will enable us to trigger like what happens if we actually got a lot of traffic, CPU is spiking, and we needed to get more instances. Would everything work correctly as expected? So we have our DNS as well, and then we have our S3 bucket that's used to store our Jenkins artifact for this project. So I'll just show you what the website looks like. I deployed it a bit ago and you can see it just up and running here. It's a Python application. Now let's check out Jenkins. So we have a Jenkins server also running on EC2, and we have a few different projects set up. So the first one that I want to show you is our Jenkins Gremlin. So this one actually builds our application. So this is going to actually check out our repo when it gets an update. So you can see it actually just started to run right now. And you can see over here, we'll just go check that out. Let's click on console output. You'll be able to see the logs. And what we're doing here is we're checking that repo for updates. It noticed there was an update, and it's going to grab the change and deploy that code and test it. Everything's good there, and it'll deploy it to our staging environment. So what I want to do then, after that all runs successfully, is I want this project to then trigger a chaos pipeline. And that pipeline is going to run as a set of chaos engineering attacks as a gauntlet before the code is then moved to production. So when we have new code, it gets deployed to staging, it then has to go through a chaos engineering gauntlet that is automatically triggered, set up, and run, all using Jenkins and Gremlin. So that's pretty awesome. So you can see here we're expanding out all of our files, we're grabbing everything. While that's running, I'm just going to go back over here. You can see it's running right now. I'll show you what we're going to run after this finishes running successfully. We're not going to run it like this. So I like the idea of running things in a much more modular fashion. So instead of saying like, let's go staging, then deploy to production, then do a production gauntlet, then observe the chaos, I actually prefer that we do this in a modular way. So like the Unix philosophy, simple, short, clear, modular, extensible code. We're just going to focus on staging as our staging pipeline. So I'll show you that right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to trigger the staging pipeline to run after that build is successful, and it'll all be nice and automated. You can see here it's actually started to run. So that did work, and I'm just going to show you that here. So let's check out what that looks like. Configuration. So here we run a CPU attack, and that attack is set up here as a pipeline script. So we'll use the API key, we'll run the attack for 1000 seconds, 50% CPU. We're going to hit one core, and we can choose what we want to target. So we're targeting our staging environment, which is our EC2 instance right now, just one. And let's go back over to Jenkins. I also want to show you, if we go over here, click on logs, print message, see your attack here. So let's go and open that up. And we can see that attack running right now. So it's going to run actually for quite a long while, and I want to make sure that everything actually happens as we expect it to. So one thing I want to see is a spike in CPU here. I do expect to see that in my CloudWatch logs. And I also expect that I should have more instances added because of my autoscaling group and the settings there, the policy that I have. So right now I just have one instance, but I do expect that to go up. So what I'll do is I'll show you over here. Right now, yes, like I said, I just have this one instance here, and that is cool, but I obviously want to be able to have more. So I have this autoscaling group set up here. You can see that there. That's the launch configuration. If I click on here, I'll then show you what it's set up to do for automatic scaling. So desired capacity at the moment is 1. You can change that. A minimum is 1, maximum is 4, so it doesn't go too big. And I did add this target tracking policy. So here we have this enabled, and we're looking for CPU utilization to stay at 30 as an average, and it will add or remove capacity units as required. So it'll scale up and then it will scale back down as I hit that. And you can definitely modify this yourself, which is pretty cool. You can change that yourself. You can change the value. So that's really great. You can also disable scale in if you only want a scale out policy. And what I really want to do though with my chaos engineering work with Gremlin is to check that this all works, to check this configuration is working as I expect it to. I'm going to go back over to my instances screen and I'm going to check out what's happening. Am I seeing a spike? Alrighty. Still waiting to see our blue one here. This is our server that's running our application that Gremlin is running an attack on. So let's look at over the last hour. I previously ran an attack. You can see there it went up. So right now we're looking for the metrics to pull that data. It's only been not very long at all. Gonna go back over to Jenkins and check that out. Staging pipeline. So I'm still running my attack right now. Let's check out the console output as well. So I do have that attack there, and it's still going, so that's great. Running 50% CPU. Let's refresh. Oh, there we go. So now you can see it is going up. So this blue one here, this blue line, this is our code deployed demo. So it's gone up to 25 so far. And so our monitoring is picking up that increase in CPU. And now we have it set up to watch. So everything's looking good right now. It's like, okay, it has to be, like we said, in the configuration at 30% for a sustained period of time. That's what I've set the configuration to be with EC2. So just to show you again, if I go back to this, I have the policy here, automatic scaling, average CPU at 30, and this is for a period of time. So we'll see how that goes. We also have our monitoring enabled there. So we can see that we currently have the desired capacity set up, any pending instances coming up. All is looking good. So while that's running and I'm waiting for it to trigger and actually show us the results, I'm going to also talk to you about what we don't want to do. So like I said before, there are lots of different ways to set this up. And we have this nice staging chaos pipeline. So we could also create a production chaos pipeline that would do the same thing. And with Gremlin, you can run a number of different types of attacks. So I'll show you there. If I select this host that I have my application set up on, I'm going to target that. I could also use the Kubernetes feature if we were using this with containers. And then, there's a lot of different tags I can automatically get just because we've installed the Gremlin agent on AWS. So I could, for example, pick a specific region or something like that to do very targeted attacks. And then I can do different types of these gauntlet attacks before I deploy my code to production. So I recommend doing attacks like CPU, disk, IO, memory. That's a good set of gauntlet attacks to make sure, can I check all these things? Is my application still looking good? Did I get any weird alerts because of this that I didn't expect when these ran after I deployed this code? That enables you to go, oh, well, we just deployed this new code with Jenkins. Then we ran the chaos pipeline and it looks like we got an alert because something failed. Something has gone wrong. It's not working like it used to work. Now we see an issue. Other types of attacks that you can use are process killer, shutdown, time travel. And then for network, there's black hole DNS, latency, and packet loss. Alrighty, so let's go back over to CloudWatch. You can see here we still have our one autoscaling instance. Go back over to EC2, check that out. Still have just our one instance there. No alarms going off yet. And Gremlin is running that attack.